And I want to tell you the three sources of the resistance that we've identified. And there's probably even more, but I want you to know this is very, very common. First of all, for those of us that have experienced trauma or abuse or neglect or discrimination or poverty or all kinds, heartbreak, abandonment, anything that you have survived, a lot of us drag that into the bathroom every morning, and it stands between you and the person in the mirror. And you see it as evidence that the person you're staring at, if you'll even look at them, is damaged or unworthy or whatever you say, unlovable. And so the resistance is this deep-seated belief that because of those things that you've survived, you do not deserve the high five, which is where the resistance comes from. So I'm here to tell you, if that resonates for you, the high five is a beautiful thing because you don't need to say a word. You can feel all that resistance. That's okay. Because the physical gesture and the programming in your mind do all the work for you. And, you know, if you have survived all those things in your life, you not only deserve a high five, you need one. And you need one to heal. Because, you know, if you can think about the times where you have given or received a high five, Dr. Nicole, what does the gesture communicate whenever you give it to somebody?
I think high fives communicate acknowledgement, right? You see that person and you feel, I'm going to use some version of favorably. You're celebrating some aspect of what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like, I love you, I see you, I believe in you, keep going. If somebody's having a bad day, shake it off, you got this. And you've never in your entire life high-fived somebody and thought, I hate you, I hope you lose, you're the worst. You can't do it. Like, so if you can stand there and say that person in the mirror is unlovable, but the second that you raise your hand to high five yourself, your brain takes over, and so does your nervous system, because they know what a high five means. So it is impossible. Try it. Try it. You cannot high five yourself and actually think something terrible about yourself, because your brain neurologically won't allow you because of the programming in there. It's like trying to sing the lyrics to a different song while Let It Be is playing. You can't do it. You know, it's in your mind. And so the more that you make this a daily practice, what ends up happening is you silence the critic, and the programming associated with the high five starts to marry with your own reflection. Now, another thing that happens is, like, form of resistance is all the regrets that you have and the shame that you carry. So if you're human, you have done things that you deeply regret, whether it's cheating or lying or addiction or hurting others or hurting yourself, all stuff that you did, by the way, while you're trying to survive. Things that you would gladly forgive Dr. Nicole or Mel Robbins for, but you drag it into the bathroom every morning. And you use that as evidence again to see a person that is not worthy of celebration because of those things. This was actually a really big insight because of Chris, my husband. When he got out of the restaurant business, the restaurants that he and his best friend opened ultimately shut down. And it was interesting to watch that happen, because when they shut down, his business partner looked at the 7-year experience and was like, it's restaurants, you know, I'm really proud of what we did. We worked hard. We did a good job. Like, we were great employers. Like, we had a great product. Okay. You know, whatever. Did we return the profit? Nope. Let's move on. My husband couldn't do it. He could not do it. He had the classic experience of shame. The restaurant failed. I'm a failure. I did not know, Dr. Nicole, how deep of a hole he had fallen into because of the masks that he was wearing, hiding his depression, probably not even present to the fact that he was experiencing depression. And then, of course, once he started to realize that's what it was, feeling like there was something broken, he has for 7 years stood next to me at the bathroom sink and looked in the mirror and seen a human being who's a failure. And when I first started doing this, and I said to him, you know, I think you should try this, Chris. Like, this has some crazy impact on me. I think this might help bring the light back in. And he said, the high-fiving yourself is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And as we unpacked what the stupid was, because I said, actually, Chris, I think the reason why you think it's stupid is because you don't think you deserve one. And that's the heart of the resistance, that you are standing in such profound judgment that you are refusing to give yourself the forgiveness and the acknowledgement and the support that you need to pivot and turn toward healing and moving your life in the direction you deserve to move it in. And what's great about the high five is you don't have to stand in front of the mirror and go, I'm great. You don't have to do that. And in fact, it wouldn't work because for years you've told yourself you're not. But the second, again, this is called neurobics. It's a whole field of neurological research. The second you apply that physical motion, your brain's programming takes over. It silences the beatdown and you go, this. And it doesn't mean, yeah. It actually is compassion. It says, I see you. Yeah, the last 7 years sucked, but I'm still here and I still love you and I still believe in you. It sends you into your day feeling like you have your own back. You know, the third form of resistance is what you and I know so well because we've talked about it a lot. And this is one that comes up for tons of people. And that is, unless you've done something that deserves the high five, like you've hit the weight, you are the size pants, your hair looks good, you have the money in the bank, you're driving the right car, you're dating the right person, you're doing the right thing, your mom's, like whatever it is, the thing outside of you, unless that's happening, you don't think you deserve something. And, you know, when you flip it and you realize, no, your life is a marathon and we don't stand along the edge of a walkathon and a marathon with our arms crossed and go, mile 7. Do you see the pace you're running? I'm not cheering for you till you get to the finish line. And even then, I'll see what your time looks like. No, we cheer for people, clap for them, high five them every step of the way. And that's what you need to be doing to propel yourself forward. Your favorite sports teams, they don't start a game by standing there, Dr. Nicole, I saw your last book. It really blew. You know, I don't know how this one's going to go. That's not how you start a game. You literally ground down in optimism. You ground down in partnership, in trust, in faith. And then you seal it with this positive, energizing gesture that aligns you on that commitment. You send yourself into your day that way. And the final piece of research that's really exciting, and I bet you'll be able to even go deeper on this, is Dr. Amen asked me, he said, so when you leave the bathroom, do you notice that you feel a little more energized? And I said, yeah, I'm assuming it's just because, you know, it's like, hey, you know, it's kind of cheesy. Is that what it is? And he said, no. He's like, Mel, no. He said, just what you said about emotion and energy. Our nervous systems are wired for vitality. They have celebratory energy encoded in them. And so there are all these gestures you've done forever, whether it's celebrating somebody scoring where you raise your hands or crossing a finish line or raise your hand to wave hello or raise your arms to hug somebody or raise your arms to high five. The reason why you feel your vitality come back is because your nervous system also recognizes the gesture. So you get dopamine, you get the positive programming, and you get this little boost of celebratory energy that comes through your system to lift you into the day. Sue, you're the perfect example for why your life isn't changing. The reason why your life isn't changing is because your thinking isn't changing. If you wake up every morning and the first thought in your head is making yourself wrong, why can't I just get out of bed? Why can't I just go exercise? Why can't I eat healthy? The reason why you can't change is because your thinking is stopping you. Your thinking is the problem. And I used to be just like that. I used to lie in bed and allow space for that negative garbage to come into my mind. I used to lie in bed and make myself wrong. I used to lie in bed, and the fact that I was lying there and not getting up, I would literally say to myself, Sue, I'm such a horrible person. I'm such a loser. I can't even get out of bed. I would use the fact that I was lying there to just beat myself up. And so the first thing you have to do, Sue, is you have to understand that you've got to change the way that you think. And I'm going to give you a simple thought reversal that I am positive will work for you. You ready? Because I had this thought this morning. So this morning, today's Boston Marathon Day, right? I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning to the loudest rainstorm and these massive thunderclaps. Kaboom, kaboom. And part of our house has a metal roof. And so when it rains, it looks really beautiful on the outside. But if you're thinking about ever living in a house with a metal roof, I'm going to warn you, whenever it rains, it is about 50 times louder than it normally is because it's like ping, 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 ping on the metal roof. So I wake up, it's raining, the thunder's like, and the first thing I think is, oh my God, those poor runners. Oh, they have to run the marathon in this? Oh, it's raining outside. They're standing in Hopkinton. They're cold. They're wet. They have to run it in this? Oh, the first thought was negative. And then it reminded me that when you think I have to, it's an obligation. When you think I have to, you immediately feel a burden. When you think I have to, you immediately feel heavy. I want you, Sue, to try a simple thought reversal. Because I was lying there this morning, the alarm went off. I thought about the weather. It was earlier than I'd planned to get up because the thunder had woken me up. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm going down this negative thinking trap. If runners think I've got to run it, I have to run in this? I have to run in this weather? Oh, poor me, this is terrible. If spectators think, oh, I have to cheer these people on in this weather. If you think, oh, I have to get up. What's wrong with me? I can't get up. Oh, I have to go to work. What's wrong with me that I have to go to work? Oh, I have to go to the gym. Oh, I have to eat healthy. You're already setting yourself up to fail. And so I want you to use a simple thought reversal that every single marathon runner today at the start needs to be thinking. And I need to be, in fact, actually, I'm going to show you. Come here. So this is my board. As you know, I have dyslexia. I'm writing a book. It's like the hardest thing in the planet for me to do, to organize my thoughts in big, broad strokes. So I use a lot of visual mapping in order to keep me grounded. And we're writing a new book. The title is so incredible. I know we've had like 3 or 4 titles, but we actually have the most amazing title now. Super excited. The title, I'm Positive. That's right. I'm positive you can change your life. I am positive that you can change your mindset. I'm positive that you are more powerful than you think. I'm positive that you're more amazing than you think. I am positive that you can do anything that you put your mind to. I'm positive is not only who I am for you, I'm positive is a strategy. It's a strategy for life. It's a philosophy about being optimistic, about being positive, not because we're trying to do put some nice spin on really hard problems, no, but because optimism and being positive is actually the best strategy on the planet because it helps you see solutions, it helps you spot opportunities, it helps you from going down the negative rabbit hole that Sue is going down. Why can't I just? So let's talk about the thought reversal I want you to do today, to go from I'm negative, why can't I just? Oh, I have to run this race in this nasty weather. No, that's not what you're going to say anymore. You're going to say, I get to. Do you see what mine says? I get to write a book. This is front and center for me. Because of my dyslexia, because of my ADD, writing a book is like the hardest thing on the planet. Look at my workspace, for crying out loud. Is this not the workspace of somebody that has dyslexia and ADD? Please. Okay. So it's so easy for me, Sue, and for you. I want you to pay attention to this. It's so easy for me to go down the tunnel of I have to write a book. I'm behind. This is so hard. I'm sorry. I've got something stuck to my face that I keep touching, but whatever. That I have to write a book, that it's not going well. I can go so quickly down that rabbit hole that I use this statement visually. I get to write a book as a way to anchor myself in the opportunity. Because you know what? I'm positive. I'm positive that if I change the way that I think, it'll change everything. And it does. Because if I sit at my messy desk and I tell myself I have to write this thing, I have to write this thing, I have to get this done, I have to get this done, I am opening up a Pandora's box of negativity. If, on the other hand, I stop thinking that and I start thinking this, I get to write a book. I get to impact Rubina's life. Look at this. This was this morning. Rubina, mindset reset has worked. We did it. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I took a break from the gym. She's not making herself wrong. Do you understand what a breakthrough that is? And so, Sue, it starts with how you think. You have to start catching yourself when you beat yourself up. And if you're watching this live stream and you're standing in Hopkinton, and I know it's been raining this morning, but guess what? The weather's cleared. It's going to be a beautiful day. It's not that hot. The fans are going to be spectacular, and you get to run this race. And for you, whatever it is that you've been feeling heavy about, that you've been feeling negative about, please, I want you to take on the I'm positive strategy. I want you to take on switching from thinking this thing that's negative to, thinking that thing that's negative to thinking this thing that's positive. You get to go to work today. How lucky are you? You have a job. You get to go to the gym today and exercise today. How lucky are you? You're healthy enough to go there and you've got the access to do it. You get to meditate today. How lucky are you that you can find the 10 minutes and that you are educated enough in mind body that you know how important that is for you. You get to have the hard conversation today. How lucky are you that you get to do that so you can clear that dead space out? You get to draw boundaries in your life. How lucky are you that you have the power to do that? So today, what I want you to do, I want you to catch yourself when you start thinking negative, and I want you to step into the I'm positive space. I want you to go from thinking that thing that's negative, I have to, into I get to. And I want you to see what happens. So in the comments, what I'd like you to do is I would like for you to write down your statement, your thought reversal. I want you to go from thinking this thing that thing that's negative to this thing that's positive. I want you to go in the comments. I'm not going to think, or like I used to think I have to go to work. Today, I'm going to say I get to go to work. What are you going to get to do today that you normally resist, but I want you to use this. I get to. Use this statement to flip yourself from the negative and join me in the positive. You got that? This is not like some softy, just, I don't know the right word for it. I cannot underscore how profound of a point and a strategy it is that you become positive in your life. This is not some joke. This is a strategy. Optimism wins. Positivity is where it's at. And if you've got a pattern of seeing the world from a half full lens, that's a problem. If you've got a pattern of having a woe is me or why me or the world's out to get to me pattern of thinking, that is a freaking problem. And you have got to, if you do nothing else, you have got to start to interrupt those thoughts. And instead of thinking that stuff that's negative, I want you to think these things that are positive. And it starts with catching yourself from saying, oh, I have to go to the grocery store, to I get to go. Oh, I have to pick up my kid today. I get to pick up my kid. Oh, I have to do this. I have to write this book. I get to. This is powerful stuff. Do not underestimate the power of this just because it's simple. What is your limiting belief? What is the thing that you think about yourself? Maybe your parents or your mother or your father taught you to think that way about yourself. Maybe you went through a horrible breakup and that person made you feel unworthy. Maybe you've had a bunch of setbacks in your life and that's what gave you that limiting belief. But what is your limiting belief? Because today, what we're going to do today is we're going to take it a step further. Now that you've identified your limiting belief, we're going to look at what is it costing you to choose to repeat it. Because remember the quote I started with. You have a choice right now. You get to repeat the things you've always done, or you can evolve them and become more deliberate. Let's talk about the cost of that limiting belief. I'm going to go first. So write down your limiting belief. I see a lot of, I'm not good enough. My mental health is holding me back. I can't run a successful business. I'm lazy and I can't do anything. I'm not healthy enough. Money is the issue. I'm scared to fail. What is the limiting belief that you have? I'm certain it has something to do with not being enough. Once you've written that down, you're afraid of failure. You don't deserve success, all that kind of stuff. I don't know how to start. These are excellent. You're doing an excellent job. The first step to moving from that default into getting deliberate is actually seeing it. So seeing it is fantastic because now we can start to understand that, whoa, this got programmed in. It's my default mode. I want to get rid of it. How do we get rid of it? Well, let's first identify why you want to. Let's take a hard look at the cost of having this limiting belief. So in order to figure out the cost of having the limiting belief, what's my limiting belief? That I'm not a good person. That's my limiting belief. That I am not a good person. That you don't think I'm a good person. That I don't think I'm a good person. And here's what you're going to do in order to identify the cost, okay? You're going to ask yourself 3 questions, and they're very simple. What is this limiting belief in my case that I'm not a good person? What does it cost me in my past to think this way? What is it costing me in this present moment to think that I'm not a good person? And here's the kicker. If I don't evolve this, if I don't get deliberate, what is it going to cost me in the future to continue to think that I'm not a good person? So in the past, thinking that I'm not a good person, it did a bunch of things. First of all, it made me very sad. Secondly, it made me a liar because I assumed that I wasn't good enough and I'm not a good person, so I got to pretend to be somebody else. It also made me cheat on people because I didn't think I deserved love. And it also, by believing that I wasn't a good person, it somehow justified the bad behavior. I mean, if I'm a bad person, then I do bad things, right? What does it cost me in the present to believe that I'm not a good person? Well, it costs me a lot of joy. It costs me connection in friendships because I'm constantly questioning whether or not people actually like me for me. It makes me second guess myself and whether or not I deserve the success. And what does it cost me in the future? It's going to cost me everything. If I continue to repeat this pattern and I continue to allow myself to default to believing that I'm not a good person, I will never be fully happy. I will never be fully present. I probably will not be successful when we launch this new daytime talk show in the fall. And so I got a choice to make, and I want to get rid of this because I can see what allowing myself to believe that I'm not a good person is costing me. This exercise of identifying your limiting belief and then seeing what it's cost you in your past, your present, and your future is so important for you to do that I want to give you another example. So to really, really drive it home, okay? And so I want to bring in my husband. Why don't you scoot on this? I don't know if you can lean in on that thing. You sit on this chair. I'm going to bring in my husband, Christopher Robbins. Yes, if you've ever been a fan of Winnie the Pooh, his name is Christopher Robbins. And Chris is going to go through this exercise too. And I think it's important for we're sharing a chair here, and so we're like really close. I think it's important for you guys to know that Chris is one of the partners in our media company. He's our CFO, and he's also the founder of a men's retreat called Soul Degree. And he's a yoga instructor and president of the Booster Club. So this is a guy that's like really accomplished and super amazing. So with that context, founder of Soul Degree, what's your limiting belief?
Well, of course, it would be appropriate that I think forever it's just been that I'm not good enough, I think that's it, succinctly, that I'm not living up. And certainly in the past, it's been all around the decisions I've made career-wise, never thinking that I was in fact good enough, which just took away from, I suppose, all the joy that I could have had.
Were you really sad when you were little?
Yeah, I think I was just down and out, probably feeling alone, and like the decisions I had made along the path were not the right ones, and then that subsequently not performing, and or at least not performing to my own expectation.
So how has not feeling good enough? I can see how it would make you feel sad, especially, there's so much pressure on men to succeed, feeling like you weren't good enough in your career, blah, blah, blah. Even ski racing, because you grew up as a kid ski racing. How did feeling not good enough impact the way you raced?
I probably just could have skied a lot better than even I did because I was constantly thinking it wasn't good enough.
And now what about in the present? What is the default belief that you're not good? Is it like, how is it still in your life in this moment? Because here's the thing about a limiting belief, guys, is that everybody will look at you on the outside and they'll be convinced you don't have it. They'll be shocked that you believe that about yourself. And that's why it's important for you to be honest with yourself about what your limiting belief is, because it's something you are doing to yourself. So what is the belief that you're not good enough? How is that impacting your life right now, Chris?
Probably has everything to do with just being the point parent. As much as I love being the point parent and having the time with the kids that I have, given your own schedule.
Let me explain what that means. So Chris and I Chris and I, because of the amount of work that I use, Chris is the one that is home more often. He's the one that is really in charge of what's going on with the kids. He has been home for these last 3 to 4 years, playing a huge role in the back end of our company. But the primary role is the parent. And traditionally, at least in the United States, it's the woman that does that. And so it's been, I think, a very fulfilling yet confronting thing for Chris to be playing that role in, am I saying this correctly?
Totally.
Just to bring everybody up to speed?
Just embracing the idea that me being the one at home handling the lion's share of the things at home are, of course, consistent with my negative belief that that's not good enough, that that's not being supportive enough.
Is it also with success? Like that's not enough in terms of your own career, even though you founded a men's retreat?
Well,
seriously.
You mean?
Well, you run Soul Degree. You run the Booster Club for the high school. You teach yoga classes. You are a CFO, and it's still not enough. And here's the thing that's so interesting, everybody. I'm going to ask Chris a question he doesn't know I'm going to ask him. If you could go back and do something different these last 3 or 4 years and actually go and work and build a business that's solely your own and not be around, and I mean, would you trade the years that you've had with our kids the last 3 years or for something else?
No, definitely not.
Well, see, then that's the thing that's crazy is here you're sitting here torturing yourself saying, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. But given the option, if we could wave a magic wand and change everything and the circumstances would be different, but you had to trade the time that you had with our kids, would you do it? The answer is no. So here's the thing that's interesting, and I'm so happy that you admitted to that because it points out the fact that your default thinking isn't logical. It's just a habit. It's something you've been doing for so long that you don't even realize it. And even though it doesn't serve you, and even though, like Chris just said, he would never change a thing, and yet he still thinks it's not enough. That to me means that there is some automation here that's going on in your brain where it's set on default. Oh, I got to just think I'm not enough. I got to think I'm not enough. I got to think I'm not enough. You know? Well, here's the bigger question. If you allow this default mode to stay programmed in your brain, how is that going to impact your future? Particularly if you think about things like your aspirations for Soul Degree, the men's retreat that you run.
I think that if it perpetuates, then I'm obviously my own impediment to what I want it to be. You know, if I'm constantly in that mindset of it's not enough, I haven't done enough, then how could Soul Degree ever become what it should be?
What do you want it to become?
I would love to see it touch as many men's lives.
You're about to cry, I could tell.
Yeah, as possible.
Why do you get choked up?
Just because I know the impact. I've experienced the positive impact that it can have, and I don't. It's limitless, I think, in the difference that it could make, regardless even of your age. So it's.
Do you see how your limiting belief, the default thinking that you're not enough, will prevent you from?
Oh, totally.
How does it stop you when you think you're not enough? How does it stop you? Like, what are the things that you do when you start getting in that mindset?
Well, it's probably things that you don't do, right? Because if you're not going to be good enough, well, why go do that thing? Whether it's write more or, sort of test the elasticity of what Soul Degree could be also. I mean, it's in a state where there's still so much that we could do to enhance the experience, have it reach more people, which starts with my own. Again, I think part of the limitation is that I've always argued, hey, I'm a shitty marketer. I'm not good at putting the word out, if you will. And even this conversation, talking about something like Soul Degree is.
How many of you can relate to this?
I could be a lot better at that.
You're just stopping yourself, not all the time because of your limiting belief. Like you go to write a blog post about the thing that fills your heart and you're like, ooh, should I really put this out there? That's your limiting belief. That's your default setting. And you're dead right, Chris, and it's the same thing for me and the same thing for Mandy. What was yours?
I'll never get there.
I'll never get there. I love that one. I'll never get there. Yeah. Because you can feel like just the no matter how hard I try, it's never going to be enough. I'm never going to get there. It's never going to happen. And how that sets you up to just race and race and race and race. And Danielle, what's yours?
But I'm not smart enough.
I'm not smart enough. Yeah, I'm not smart enough to do this. And so if your belief, the default that got programmed a long time ago is I'm not smart enough, then you'll tell yourself, I'm not smart enough to write this blog post. I'm not smart enough to figure this out. I'm not smart enough to build that kind of business. And I'm smart enough to attract the kind of person that I want. And the thing that's scary about default settings, everybody, is that not only are they automated in the default network in your brain, but they're a protection mechanism. By thinking you're not good enough, not smart enough, I'll never get there, I'm not a good person, you actually hold yourself back. And that's one of the reasons why we cling to it. And so if you haven't already, because we're going to wrap up this training and I'm going to tell you what's coming up tomorrow and then we're going to answer questions. If you haven't already,
you got to hear the quote, though, from Nepo today.
Oh, okay.
It's so on point.
See, Soul Degree right here. So every morning.
It's so cheesy, but
no,
it's
so
not.
Good. Every morning, Chris, and I mostly sometimes, Chris reads from this. This is so tattered. He's been doing it for years. My mom also reads this book every single day. Your mom reads this book every single day. It's a page or two every single day. Mark Nero was fighting cancer when he wrote this. And it's beautiful. So
Nepo.
Mark Nepo. Did I say it wrong? Nemo. I said Nemo.
But
Finding Nemo.
I'll just read a snippet because it's so on point for January 3rd. That is the 3rd, right, today?
Yeah.
Each person is born with an unencumbered spot, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of fear and worry, an umbilical spot of grace where we are each first touched by God. It is this spot of grace that issues peace. Psychologists call this spot the psyche. Theologians call it the soul. Jung calls it the seat of the unconscious. Hindu masters call it the Atman. Buddhists call it Dharma. Rilke calls it inwardness. Sufis call it Qualb. And Jesus calls it the center of our love. To know this spot of inwardness is to know who we are, not by surface markers of identity, not by where we work, or what we wear or how we like to be addressed, but by feeling our place in relation to the infinite and by inhabiting it. This is the hard, lifelong task, for the nature of becoming is a constant filming over where we begin, while the nature of being is a constant erosion of what is not essential.
Oh.
Each of us lives in the midst of this ongoing tension, growing tarnished or covered over, only to be worn back to that incorruptible spot of grace at our core.
Well, I would say the one word that came to mind when you were reading that was, let's see if I can find it, not essential. You know, what's not essential is your default thinking and your negative belief. And in fact, it is essential that you get rid of it. You're awesome. You don't have to go. I'm gonna keep wrapping.
I am
this.
gonna go.
You are going? Where are you
Bye,
going?
everyone. I'm sure
He's got a blog post to write because now he's gotten rid of his limiting belief. Bye.
See ya.
Okay. So tomorrow, so I want you to write your limiting belief in there. And here's another thing. What is it costing you right now? What are the things you're not doing because of that limiting belief? For me, not being a good person, I think it's the thing that keeps me isolating myself. And it also, I can see how, just like Chris was explaining, that his limiting belief has him not doing things like writing more blog posts and putting himself out there. Even though I'm out there, there's, I think, a level to which I'm not because of this belief that I'm not a good person. So I want you to write in the comments what's your limiting belief and what's it costing you right now. What are you not doing because of it? And I want to come back to the opening quote. You have a choice. You're either going to repeat what you're doing or you're going to evolve it. And when you ask yourself these three questions, what is my limiting belief cost me in the past? What's it costing me right now? And what is it going to cost me if I continue to choose to do it? If I continue to choose to be on default? Hopefully getting in touch with that will help you, give you, motivate you, push you to choose to be deliberate in what you're thinking next. Because tomorrow what we're going to be talking about is how do you create a deliberate belief, one that you don't believe yet. We're going to teach you how to think this, not that. Because it's essential that you have something to go to for when you catch yourself going to that default. So trust me when I tell you, tomorrow we are going to take you from the, oh my God, I need to stop doing this, and into the mode of, okay, I got this. I can think this, not that. Today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about the powerful connection between your mindset and your morning routine. And I'm going to give you an assignment at the end of this training. Tomorrow, we're going to build on this. So this entire week, what we're going to be talking about are the components to your morning, because your mindset and having a powerful mindset and being deliberate about what you're going to think about and what you're not going to think about, it begins the moment you wake up. And believe it or not, how you wake up, not when, but how you wake up, and the first few things that you do in the morning will dictate your mood for the rest of the day, which based on science is going to impact your productivity, and it's going to impact how you feel about your life. And it will also impact your mindset for the rest of the day. And that's why now that we've done in days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we've done foundational training. You've learned a tremendous amount about how your brain works, about your default network, about how to be a deliberate thinker. You've spotted your limiting beliefs. You've learned how to think this, not that. You've started the skill and the practice of the skill. Remember, it's a process, not an event, to be a positive thinker. You've started practicing catching your limiting beliefs and swapping from that default way of viewing the world and thinking about yourself and choosing deliberate thoughts. Now let's talk about physical habits that you can adopt that are very simple, that will be life-changing, because they will impact your ability to be in control of what you're thinking and to be deliberate. And that begins with how you wake up. So let me talk about the morning. You can think about your morning routine and whether or not you even have one in the exact same way that we think about the brain. You're either defaulting to something that you've always done that may no longer serve you, or you're getting deliberate and choosing to do something that's more positive and powerful because you deserve it. And that starts with your morning routine. So if you're the kind of person where the alarm goes off and you hit the snooze, and then the alarm goes off again and you hit the snooze, and eventually you roll out of bed and you step into your day and you maybe drink a big dark cup of coffee and you skip breakfast and you skip exercise and you're tired, if that's how you start your day, your mindset is going to be impacted by that. If your alarm goes off and you immediately reach for your phone and you start scrolling through Instagram while you're in bed and looking at Facebook, and you are putting all kinds of stuff in your brain that triggers FOMO, that triggers insecurity, that triggers anxiety, that is going to impact your mindset for the rest of the day. And so starting tonight, I want you to take control and be more deliberate about your habits in the morning. And what we're going to do this week is we are going to build, based on science, the most powerful morning routine that you could possibly have. Sorry, I'm just moving this around so that the Instagram channel is brighter. The most powerful morning routine that you could possibly have based on science. It's super simple. It will help you become a more deliberate and positive thinker. And I'm going to walk you through step by step. And you're going to be doing this with more than 230,000 people around the world. So what is the assignment tonight? The assignment tonight is very simple, and you're going to hate it. You're totally able to do this, and most of you are not going to. You're going to let your limiting beliefs and your default mode of thinking stop you from making this simple change. And the thing that I want you to do tonight, this is your assignment. This smartphone right here, I don't want it anywhere near your bedroom. Your assignment is when you go to bed tonight, you are to plug your smartphone in outside of your bedroom. If you live in a studio apartment, put it on the other side of the room. I don't want this phone anywhere near where you sleep. And there's a simple reason why. You're addicted to it. And if it's next to you while you're sleeping, as soon as you wake up, without even thinking, the default mode of your brain will mindlessly reach for this, and you will lie in bed and you will look at your phone. And when you do that, you are putting in garbage into your brain before you even get out of bed. If you wake up anxious, if you wake up overwhelmed, if you wake up feeling like you're losing some imaginary race, if you wake up and you feel dread, if you wake up and feel negative or exhausted, I'm telling you, this is the reason why. And if you want to have a positive mindset this year, and you deserve to, then you also have to get very deliberate about your habits and about your morning routine in particular. Because how you wake up matters. How you wake up determines your mood. How you wake up determines on your phone. Hold on, IG is pausing a lot. Hold on a second. Let's see here. Yikes. All right, hold on a second, IG. I'm getting a lot of, let's get on Wi-Fi. Rendezvous. Let's see if that works. Looks like I'm on. Let's go back to Instagram. Okay, let's see if that works. Is that better, Mandy? Thank you for your patience, by the way. Normally, our streams are not as spotty, but when we started this program, I knew that I was going to be traveling 24 out of the 35 days that we're broadcasting live, and tech can be a challenge. And so for those of you that have been hanging in there on Instagram, if it's spotty, jump over to Facebook Live, jump over to YouTube, jump over to Twitter. We're streaming on all 4 platforms at once. And we will also email you a link to this video, which is one of the reasons why, if you haven't yet, sign up for melrobbins.com/mindset reset, because we curate all this information for you and we tee it up for you every day. So thank you for your patience as I am broadcasting from my parents' place. My mother's 70th birthday is tomorrow. And for those of you that are just tuning in because the stream has been dicey, We're talking about the powerful connection between your mindset and your morning routine. In fact, I would say it's not even powerful, it's critical. You cannot have a positive, in control mindset if you don't have control of your mornings. And it makes a lot of sense from a common sense standpoint, right? If you wake up and you're behind the ball, and if you wake up and you've got your phone in your face and you're not even out of bed yet, and you're looking at everybody's perfect life on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter, or you're reading the news and getting stressed out, you're absolutely, positively not going to start your day off right. So the assignment that I have for you is a very simple one, and it's one that you're going to be tempted to ignore. Do not ignore this. Tonight, when you go to bed, you are to put your phone as far away from your bed as you possibly can. If you have a bedroom, get your phone charging outside of your bedroom. Turn the vibration off, and you can turn the ringer on. And here's why. I know many of you are single parents. I know many of you have jobs where people need to get a hold of you. Instagram is reconnecting again, so I don't know what to make of this. I apologize for the feed on Instagram, everybody. But if you start your day by looking at this, your mind is hijacked and you're going to be playing catch up all day long. I want to give your brain a fighting chance to be deliberate. Tonight, what I want you to do is sleep without your phone. Plug your phone in outside of your room. And then when you get up, you're going to notice something. You're going to notice that you automatically reach for your phone. Your phone's not going to be there. You see, we're setting a trap. We're setting a trap so that you don't fall into the default mode of laying in bed and looking at that thing. I want to give you a chance to catch your thoughts. I want to give you a chance to do a couple things in the morning based on science that will give you control over your day, that will boost your mood, and that will help you develop a much more deliberate and positive mindset. So you got it? If you're going to do this, I want you to put the bicep pump curl, emoji, or give me a thumbs up in the comments below if you're going to try this, because it's a lot harder than you think. And even those of you that are like, oh, I don't look at my phone, baloney. Every one of us is addicted to this thing. I'd like to take some questions real quick about mindset, about the mindset morning routine connection, about the cell phone, or about anything related to mindset reset. Danielle from Facebook, I love routines as well, but what if you let go of your routine? Can you still embrace yourself and the day? I'm not sure I understand the question. I love routines as well. I think that yes, you can, if what you're basically saying is you have a morning where you don't do your normal routine and now it's noon and you realize, my gosh, I've spent the morning in a negative mindset. Can you catch yourself? Absolutely. You absolutely at any moment during the day can catch negative beliefs. You can catch limiting beliefs. You can catch yourself when you default to the negative things that you've trained yourself to think. And you can 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in 5 seconds flat. You can switch to a more positive belief. Absolutely. You can change your attitude like that. No question. You can put the force fields up if you feel yourself getting sucked into somebody else's drama. What I'm trying to tell you is that while that's possible, and while you should do that all day, particularly as you are practicing the skill of having a positive mind, I am here to tell you, based on personal experience, that when you start to own your morning, and when you start to take your morning routine seriously as a habit that you develop that contributes to your mindset and your happiness and your sense of control, it will change your life. If you're concerned about anxiety, having a morning routine that I'm going to walk you through step by step this entire week, this is key to curing yourself of anxiety. And it begins the night before. So Betsy asked, is it better to prep the night before? Absolutely. So the night before, I always plug my phone into the kitchen, or I plug it into my closet. I turn off the alerts on my text messages. I turn off the buzzing, and I leave the ringer on in case there's some kind of emergency. My kids know that they should call me if they need to reach me. We have a daughter who's in college, and kids are all over the place these days. My business partner knows, call me if you need to reach me. Do not text me. And that one habit has changed my mindset for the better. It's changed my life for the better, because when I wake up in the morning, I actually get out of bed. I don't scroll through my phone. And because my phone is nowhere near me, I don't even reach for it. I spend the first 30 minutes to an hour of my day before I even look at my phone, and it has been a game changer, both in my ability to cure my anxiety and in my ability to be deliberate about what I want, A, to be thinking about, and B, what I want to be focused on for this day. Tatiana on Instagram, I switch my phone to airplane mode or turn it off completely for the night. Is this okay or the equivalent? It's definitely okay, but I don't want it near your bed, because I don't even want you tempted to reach for this thing and to start scrolling through it. We live in a moment of time, here comes my father, where we need to have major boundaries with our phone. This right here, it's supposed to be a tool, but we have become the tool. Advertisers know that they can make money on your attention. So when you look at this, whether you're looking at your email or you're looking at Facebook or you're looking at social media, you are giving the world your most precious commodity, which is your attention. And so you're going to hear me hammer the fact that boundaries with this, essential for your mindset, essential for your happiness, essential for your success. Vicky from Twitter, why is morning routine so important? What 2 to 3 items should be a part of it? Why is the morning routine so important? Couple things. How you wake up has a scientifically proven impact on your ability to focus, on your happiness, and on your productivity all day. This is not something I've made up. This is well-established research. And I'm going to be explaining it to you in bite-sized pieces all week long. And so to preview it, we're going to be talking about this tomorrow morning. The 2 to 3 pieces of it are, for me, I wake up when the alarm goes off. And I'm going to explain the science why the snooze alarm is horrendous for your productivity. It actually impacts the way that your brain functions when you do it. We'll explain that in a training this week. I then get up, and for the first couple minutes of the day, I plan my day. And I have a particular process that I go through that leverages something from Harvard Business School called the progress principle. I have a mindfulness practice. That could be anything that you want. It could be gratitude journaling. It could be meditation. It could be 5 slow, deep breaths. It could be taking your dog outside for a walk. And then on mornings when I can, I have a micro exercise practice where I do planks for 5 minutes, or I do something to get my blood pumping on the mornings that I can. I do all that before I ever even look at my phone, because I put myself and my mindset first deliberately before I ever allow the world access to my mind. You do not want anybody to have access to what's going on up here until you've gotten deliberate about what you're thinking about first. So that's a preview, but I'm going to, as I promised, this was going to be bite-sized stuff. If you've already watched the first 10 minutes of this, you got the training for today, which is the powerful connection between your mindset and your morning routine. And your morning routine begins the night before, when you plug your phone outside of your bedroom and you go to bed without your phone anywhere near you. The other reason why that's important is we know based on research that the blue light on these things impacts your ability to fall into a deep sleep. Sleep is essential for you to have a healthy mindset. And also when you wake up, if this is next to you, 87% of adults sleep with their phones or next to their phones. And 33% of adults check email in the middle of the night. And so whether you're willing to admit that or not, we want to break your habit of giving the world access to your mind, and we want to make you more deliberate about how you are with your phone. And the reason why is it has a direct scientific researched impact on your mood and your mindset all day. I have time for just 1 or 2 more questions. If you have any other questions about this, seeing a ton of, but my phone is my alarm, I have kids. Do you see the excuses, everybody? What's more important? If you have kids, do exactly what I told you. Leave the ringer on. If your kids need you, they can call you. If your boss needs you, they can call you. And this is really important for your kids too. You know, there's a lot of research about kids and phones and how they're hugely addicted. And the thing about kids and phones, particularly phones in their bedroom when they're going to sleep at night, is that if you have teenagers are biologically hardwired to push away from their parents when they become teenagers. Their friends become their primary support group. They become the most important thing in their life. And kids feel an obligation to stay connected to their friends. And they feel an obligation that if I'm not available for my friends, that makes me not a good friend. And so to help your kids, you need to draw the boundaries for them. You need to tell them that they can't have their phone in the bedroom. You need to have a charging station in the kitchen, and you need to model these very healthy and mandatory boundaries with technology, period. And so I get it. Your kids need to reach you. No problem. Plug it into the closet, plug it into the bathroom, turn the ringer on. If there's an emergency, they can call you. Yes, you can use your phone as your alarm. Plug it into the bathroom, plug it into the closet, plug it into the kitchen. Because if the alarm is going off outside of your bedroom or several paces away from your bed, guess what you're doing when the alarm goes off? You're getting up. And tomorrow, I'm going to explain the science behind why you need to get up when the alarm rings and why you should not hit the snooze alarm. I don't hit the snooze alarm because I understand the neurological impact that the act of snoozing has on your mindset, on your mood, and on your brain's ability to focus. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about tomorrow. The reason why you have to get up when the alarm rings. And it's not because it sounds like a good idea. It's because of the science behind how your brain works and what hitting the snooze button and drifting back to sleep for 15 minutes does to your mind. You're going to learn all about that tomorrow, and it is a game changer. So, Mandy and Danielle, do we have any other comments, questions, excuses? Give me the thumbs up if you're going to try this phone challenge. This is going to change your life. Try the phone challenge tonight. Give it one night. And I want you to notice as you do it, how drawn are you to your phone? How panicky are you that it's not near you? Do you feel anxious about it? When you wake up in the morning, are you immediately grabbing for it? I want you to notice the default mode that you have with this sucker right here. Because part of being deliberate and serious about being a healthy, happy, anxiety-free, positive, confident thinker is taking control and having boundaries between the world and your mind. And it's also having the assuredness that you can live without this thing.
Do it anyway is a mindset trick that you can use when you start to feel excuses rolling up. It works a lot like the 5-second rule. So you have said to yourself, okay, I'm going to talk to my boss today about that thing that I've been avoiding talking to them about. Or maybe you've said something like, I'm going to go to the gym today or tomorrow or whatever. And then the moment comes where you've got to have that conversation. Or the moment comes where it's time to pack up your bag and leave your desk and go to the gym. And what always happens? You don't feel like it. I bet there are plenty of you watching that have made a commitment that, I'm not going to have a drink tonight. And then guess what happens when you get home? You don't feel like not drinking. You feel like having a drink. And so here's what do it anyway has done for me. The idea that I just do it anyway has pushed me to realize and to recognize that there are a lot of moments where there are things in my life that I really want to do, I need to do, I should do, but when the moment comes, I don't feel like it.
And so I pull out this idea of, you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway. It's raining outside. I said I would go for a short run. I don't feel like it. I'm going to do it anyway. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired. It's cold. I laid out my yoga clothes, but now I don't feel like it. What do? I do it anyway. When you start to say to yourself, I'm going to do it anyway, what happens is something really cool. You acknowledge that there are feelings that you have that are trying to swoop in and hijack you. You acknowledge them and you basically say, guess what? I'm going to do it anyway. Oakley is chomping at the bit that that we asked this question. What is the question?
All right, so
Is it on topic?
yes.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
it's from Ben S. Snack. How can I make a huge life decision, such as a job change, move to another state? I want the job, but I'm scared.
Oh, I love that. So the question is, great question, Oakley, and great question, Benisnack. So how do you make a big decision, right? So it's a decision that sounds like he's going to accept a new job, but it requires him to move to another state. And notice what he said. I want it, but I'm afraid. This is the perfect question for right now because you would actually use do it anyway. You see, the thing about the way to make decisions, this is my decision-making tool. I don't think we haven't covered it yet in this, but for those of you that have followed me for a while, you know that I have this decision-making tool. In fact, we talked about it in the journaling method. So you know in the journaling method, if you go back to videos 9, 10, and 11, and if you look at the journaling method that we talked to you about, and look, I want to tell you something. I'm not asking you to buy this. In fact, please don't buy the 5-second journal. We don't have any more in stock. They're sold out around the globe. We'll print more. Do not buy this. I'm not doing this training to ask you to buy anything. I'm showing you this because for those of you that don't have the journaling method in front of you, if you go to 5secondjournal.com, 5secondjournal.com, if you go to 5secondjournal.com, what you will find is a ton of free templates that will show you the journaling method for free. You don't ever have to buy that. I'm telling you not to buy it. I want to be very clear. The reason why we're doing these trainings is not to get you to buy something, okay? It's to help you learn how to reset your mind. So back to the question. The opening thing in the journal, do I have one that's open here? Because then I can, well, I'll just open this one. The opening thing in the journal is a fuel gauge that has you tune in, and this is going to get to decision making, that has you tune in to how you're feeling energy-wise every morning. And so let me show you what that looks like in case you haven't seen those videos yet. So you see this little fuel gauge right here. Oh, can you see it on Instagram, Oak? Am I holding it up?
Yeah, just like not that one. Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
You can see it really
there you go. So that fuel gauge is a visual cue to have you tune into your energy and to assess whether or not you are depleted and empty about something and heavy, or the other extreme is energized, full, expanded, open to possibility. And the reason why I ask you to do that first thing in the morning to assess your mood, to assess your energy, to tune in, is because there's established research that says that your mood in your morning impacts your productivity and focus all day long. And so if you can boost your mood in the morning, it has a material impact on your focus and on your productivity all day. And so we use it in the morning in the journaling method that I've taught you in videos 9 through 11. But when it comes to decisions, I want you to do the exact same thing. I get that you're scared. It's a change. I would be kind of surprised if you weren't a little nervous about doing something awesome, like moving to a new state and starting a new job and all the possibilities that come in with it. So if you're trying to make a decision, do I do this thing that's scary or not? What you do is tune inward and really assess, how do you feel about it? When you think about yourself living in this new place and having this new job and all the possibility and growth that comes with it, do you feel dead and depleted and stuck? Or do you feel energized and alive and full of possibility? You see, if the decision is something that will expand your future, that will create possibility, that will make you grow, then it is 1,000% something that you must do. And you must do it even though you're afraid. And the fear is a very normal thing. And the fear is there because you're about to do something new. But do not use the fear to talk yourself out of making a decision that actually is grounded in growth and possibility and energizing you. So that's how I make decisions, using the stuff that you're learning in the Mindset Reset. And again, you can go back to the journaling method on videos 9, 10, and 11. But if you have a big decision to make and you notice that you're afraid, or you notice that you're stuck up here, go in and ask yourself, does the decision deplete me, make me stuck, make me feel dead, make me feel heavy? Or does the decision, even though it scares me, even though it's hard, is there something about it that expands possibility and opens up my life and will give me an opportunity to grow? If you're in this camp, the answer is heck yes. If you're in the dead camp and the hell no, heck no, okay? All right, cool. Let me give you a shout out real quick, because the do it anyway thing, I do it every morning. Because here's the deal about me, you guys. I hate exercising. I hate it.
Yeah, you do.
I do. I hate it. But I should say it this way. I hate going. I hate getting dressed for it. I hate driving there. But I love how I feel when I've done it. I love it. And so do it anyway has helped me get through the front resistance, the part that I hate. And it helps me get there. And once I'm there, I absolutely don't necessarily love the exercise, but when I'm done, I love how I feel. And so that's how I use do it anyway, okay? Every day I use do it anyway, because it works so powerfully for me to push my excuses aside and to actually take care of my body, which is a very important thing in terms of my commitment, in terms of my desire to really enjoy my life fully. But I never, ever, ever, I'm never the kind of person that wakes up and goes, yeah, let's go exercise. I'm never the kind of person that is driving there going, I'm so excited to do this. I'm never the kind of person walking in that's even like, yes, I'm so glad I made it. I dread it, usually all the way through it. Sometimes I half enjoy it while I'm there, but mostly I dread it. But by the time it's over, I frigging love the fact that I went, and that's why I do it.
So the other day, I managed to get to a yoga class 30 minutes early. The reason why that happened was not because I was really organized. It was because my son actually had chorus practice at school, so he had to be at school earlier. So I got to the studio earlier, and class normally starts at 8:45, and I normally get there at 8:44, 8:45, 8:46, right in that zone. This day, a couple days ago, I arrived at like 8:14. And so I go down the stairs to the yoga studio, and I get up to the door, and it's locked. It's dark. There's no one there. The reason why nobody was there is they weren't even open yet. That's how early I was. Now, here's what happened that really struck me. The first thought that popped in my mind, here I was dressed in yoga gear. I got my yoga mat. I got my little journal because I'm going to be early and I can journal on my mat and be all yogi in the studio. The first thought that popped into my mind is, oh, you should just bail. Don't even go. Go across the street to Pete's and have a cup of coffee. Forget this yoga thing. I don't feel like it. I cannot believe how fast my own mind contaminated my thoughts. And I doubt you understand how often your mind is looking around and talking to you and spotting things that are negative and arguing against the things that you know you want to be doing. I mean, it was just a moment. Walk down the stairs, see that it's dark. I don't think, oh, great, I'm the first one here. That means I'll be the first one in the door. That means I can get the spot by the door in the back of the class that I really like. I didn't think, oh, I could sit here and I could journal right here and just wait. I didn't think, oh, I could make a phone call. I thought, I'll bail on this commitment I made to myself. I'll just bail on it. I'll just, screw it. So why am I telling you this? Because our minds are so
negative. I don't care how positive you are, and I am an incredibly positive person. I don't care how much mindset work you do. You have to continue to do it over and over and over again. It's not that your mind jumps to the negative and constantly sees the problems and the obstacles in front of you. It's that you don't even realize how often it happens and how often it hijacks you and takes you off course. So it's essential that you're paying attention. It's essential that when your mind talks negative smack talk to you, that you smack it back and you say no thanks, or you insert something positive. And, you know, I actually did not intend for this to be like some sort of video to push you to something, but that does remind me that I did an entire course called Mindset Reset. It's free, by the way. More than 400,000 people have taken it. It's 30 videos. If you want to check it out, you go to melrobbins.com/mindset reset, and we'll email you the workbook and you can watch all the videos for free. I'm not selling you anything. I'm a daytime talk show host, so I'm not selling you a course. But I'm telling you this because even the woman that created Mindset Reset, even the person that is training you on how you redirect your thoughts and do what I call think this and not that, my mind still jumps to the negative. My mind still argues against me, which is why one of the most important things that you need to do if you want to live a positive life, if you want a happy life, if you want your relationships to be stronger, if you want things to come more easily and naturally to you, you have to continually train your mind. So what did I do that morning? I basically was like, shut the up. And I sat down and I opened up my journal and I didn't listen to it. And sometimes that's the most powerful thing that you can do when your mind gets negative. You just tell it to shut up and you move on. We're not turning you into somebody who's perfect. We're turning you into somebody who has perfected the ability to catch yourself when your thoughts start to go negative and to switch into being deliberate so that you can become a problem solver. Because there are worrying, as you've learned in this course, that is productive. And that's the kind of worrying that propels you to take action to solve a problem. And then there's the worrying that's just destructive as hell that keeps you trapped upstairs thinking poisonous stuff and feeling miserable. So when you catch yourself in the destructive kind of worrying, you now know that you have the power to switch gears and think something else. So it is such huge progress that you notice that you're worrying, but you're worrying in shorter amounts of time. That's amazing. And that's only going to get better and better the more you practice switching from thinking this to thinking that. Yeah, the Uber driver in Dallas that's in this book. I get choked up when I think about him. An aha moment.
Why choked up?
I get choked up because what happens for me every single day is, and you hear from people every single day, you've got millions and millions of people that are inspired by, empowered by, impacted by your content. There are people out there that use your work as a lifeline, and it is humbling. And what I am really present to in the work that I'm putting out, in the stuff that I'm sharing, whether it's my failures or the things that I'm using that are helping me in my own struggles, is just how much people are holding themselves back and how much pain people feel. Because most folks know what they dream about and what they want. And yet they're spending all of their time and energy arguing against what they want. And so you can have all these epiphanies. I hope that when somebody listens to our conversation and watches this, that they have a massive aha moment. But it's not going to mean fucking shit if you don't take action and do something about it. The aha moment is the door that opens. But your new life does not begin unless you fucking step through the door. And most people, and that's what was so kind of, you know, the simple idea of high-fiving yourself, of encouraging yourself, of supporting yourself. Most people, when you have an aha moment and the door to your new life opens up, instead of going, I got this, let's go, and high-fiving yourself to step forward, most of us go, I don't know if I'm worth that.
I don't know if right now is the right time to do this. I don't think I'm good enough. I've failed so many times I can't go through that door. And that's the problem I want to attack right now. That there is somewhere in your life that you know what you want. You can feel it pulling you. And you are actively arguing against it. You're bringing yourself down. You're beating yourself out. Like, people will cheer for you and me. They won't cheer for themselves. I'm the same way. And so this Uber driver, the story that you're talking about, I get into the car and we start driving, and I'm on the phone as we're driving, and I'm having a conversation with somebody about this daytime talk show that I launched, which was a dream with Sony Pictures Television, and then was promptly fired after season 1. It was a huge fucking failure because we didn't make it to season 2. Huge failure in real world terms. Right. Massive success when it comes to the timeline of my life. And so I'm talking to this person about the talk show. I hang up the phone and this Uber driver comes alive. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're in my cab." And I'm like, "Why?" And he says, "Because I want to talk to you about something. I think you can help me." And I'm like, "Great, how can I help you?" And he says, "I have a dream of being an Oscar-winning actor and creating opportunities for other Black and Latino men to do the same in acting." And I'm like, "Freaking fantastic. What the fuck are you doing in Dallas?" Right? You know, the guy's 25. And so I go, the game is in New York and LA. I mean, sure, you can act, you can write stuff, you can be here in Dallas, but why are you not in LA? Why are you not in New York? And he's like, "You're right, you're right, you're right. I need to move to LA. I'm like, "Why not?" And he says, "I have $700 in my bank account." And I'm like, "That's freaking fantastic. You have $700 in a car? Dude, drop me off and get driving. What are you waiting for?" And so we have this whole conversation, and I write about it in this book, where I am actively arguing for his dream, and he is actively arguing against his dream. And what is so sad is throughout this conversation, Tom, he's like, "You're right. $700 could get me there. You're right. I am only 25. You're right. If I keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about what I want to be doing, I'm not only going to drive in circles, my whole life is going to spin in circles as I think about what I want and I don't do shit about it." And then you are going to find yourself not at 25, but at 45 or 65, and you're going to be so filled with regret that you never fucking put a bet on yourself. And so this conversation ends with him declaring that he's going to go to California and me giving him a bunch of tools that I talk about in this book. And the point of the story is, does he move or not? I don't fucking know. The point of the story is, it's so easy to see what somebody else should do. It's so easy to cheer for somebody else. We all do that, right? We cheer for our favorite sports teams. We follow our favorite influencers and authors. We plan birthday parties for our friends. We take on extra work from our colleagues. We support everyone around us. We do not know how to do it for ourselves.
If you expect to achieve your goals, if you expect to reach your potential, if you expect to have your dreams come true, what I'm about to explain to you is mission critical. You must become a master at visualization. Now, for those of you that are like, "What the heck is she talking about?" I did not sign up for some sort of meditation, woo-woo spiritual thing here. Don't worry. This is Mel Robbins. There's always science and research involved in everything that I talk about. So visualization is a extraordinarily powerful skill. And you may have heard of the law of attraction. You may have heard of the word visualization. You may have heard of the word manifesting. I call it seeing signs. So I'm a master at seeing positive signs. I am a master of creating coincidences. I have the world's most incredible luck. You want to know why? Because I understand the science and the skill of visualization. I know that your brain, it is a gigantic detective machine. Your brain is a filter. Your brain is constantly looking for evidence. And that's good news. It's good news when you know how to use it to your advantage. Let me explain. So your brain has a system in it. Here's the technical term. It's called the reticular activating system. It is a network of neurons all up in here. And what is the job of the reticular activating system? It is a filter system. It's basically a system that allows certain information in your brain and it blocks out other information. And guess who programmed that filter? You did. And so did the people from your past. And so if you constantly feel like you're unlovable, guess what? Your reticular activating system is going through the day and it is going to point out every single piece of evidence that confirms that negative belief that you have. If you think that people don't like you at work, the reticular activating system, the filter, it is literally going to be looking for evidence to confirm that belief all day long. This is one of the reasons why we have such a problem with politics in this country. This is why there's something called a confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means your mind loves to read things that you agree with, because reading things that you agree with confirms your filter. Why do we have a reticular activating system? There's a really important reason why you have this. The reason why is if your brain let in everything. Have you ever looked at a Facebook page? Have you noticed how many words are on a standard Facebook page, and the ad over here and the ad over here and the ad over here and the ad and the news feed right here and the stuff up here and all this over here? If your brain took in everything at equal value, your head would literally explode off your shoulders. Your brain would melt down. And so the reticular activating system protects your brain by filtering information and only letting in stuff that it agrees with. So that's the scientific reason and mandate for why you got to get busy reprogramming that thing. Because if you live like I have lived for a very long time, one of the beliefs that I had, we're going to be talking about this a lot this month, one of the beliefs that I had for a very long time is that I was a bad person, that I was not lovable, that I did not deserve to be a good person, that people didn't think I was a good person. And consequently, that led me to do a lot of hurtful things to myself. It led me to do a lot of hurtful things to people that I cared about. And it really damaged decades of my life. And I believed it. I believed it, and it drove my actions, and I saw evidence everywhere. If you're going to do a mindset reset, you've got to change what you believe about yourself. And so for those of you that had a very negative assessment of 2018 and you're feeling down about your goals already as you look at 2019, you have a very negative belief system about yourself. And that's going to stop right now, because now we're going to talk about visualization and how you use it in order to start to reprogram the reticular activating system in your brain so that your brain starts to spot opportunity. Your brain starts to spot evidence that things are working out. Your brain starts to spot coincidences so you can build momentum. And it begins with visualization. So as you take your goals, right? So you've written down all these goals, right, for 2019. I want you to go to each one, and I want you to do a visualization exercise. And here's how you're going to do it based on science, because there's a particular way you have to do this based on science, okay? It's a two-step method. So let's take self-worth, because we had a question about self-worth. If your goal is to improve your self-worth, I want you to visualize what your life looks like and how you're going to feel about yourself when your self-worth has improved. Here's how you're going to do it. So there's two things that you have to do when it comes to visualization. You have to close your eyes. Truly, I know it sounds stupid, but I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to, in your mind, have a specific picture of what it looks like in your life when your self-worth has improved. You're going to see yourself speaking up at work. You're going to see yourself talking more about your business. You're going to see yourself leaving bad relationships. You're going to see yourself defining boundaries. You're going to see yourself going to the gym. You're going to see yourself taking care of yourself. And when you start to visualize the image of that, I want you to consciously, this is step 2, consciously think of the positive emotions that you're going to feel. I'm going to feel happy. I'm going to feel proud. I'm going to stand taller. I'm going to be so grateful that I made this change. Marrying the specific picture. Oh, there I am. There I am. I'm at work and I'm raising my hand. Amazing. I'm sharing my idea. There I am. I'm getting a promotion. There I am asking for a raise. There I am. I've just signed up another customer to my business. There I am. I've gone back to school. I feel so good about myself. When you do that, here's what's actually happening in your brain. This is the cool science part. You are training your brain to have a totally different filter. You see, your brain, my brain, it doesn't know the difference between something that actually happened to you, like the F you got in your test in 10th grade, and the things you imagine that are happening to you. Let me say that again. Your brain doesn't know the difference between the bad things that actually happened to you, the real memories that you have, and an imagined memory that you're creating. Your brain will experience you visualizing going to the gym, you visualizing how happy you feel when you do, you visualizing asking for that raise and getting it and how proud you're going to feel. Your brain, when you visualize in the way that I'm teaching you to, it encodes it as a real memory. And that's important because when you encode it as a real memory, it changes the filter system, that reticular activating system. And here's what we know based on research. The more you visualize things, number one, the greater your confidence is going to be, the greater security you're going to have about it. And here's the really cool thing. The more you do this with your goals, you wake up every day and you just visualize. It takes 30 freaking seconds for crying out loud. You visualize having a great day at school. You visualize curing your panic and how proud you're going to be. What studies suggest and have proven is that simply visualizing yourself doing things actually develops the skill and helps you improve the skills, just as if you were actually doing it. And so there's proof based on research that visualization helps you build skills. And then finally, the other thing that's really important about this is that the more that you do this, what we know based on research is that the reason why you start to believe what you think is because you are reprogramming your brain. You are changing the network of neurons that act as a filter. And so the more that you actually believe in yourself and you start thinking and visualizing yourself speaking up, the more confident you're going to become, the more skills that you're building, and you're actually going to do it. And then instead of looking for all the reasons when you're sitting in a meeting to not speak up, you're going to just speak up because you're going to have changed the filter. You're going to look for opportunities. This is how it works. This is why this is so incredibly important. Because I know the single thing that's holding you back is how you think. You have the ability to set goals. You have the ability to take the actions that change your life. You have the ability to have the conversations that scare the hell out of you. You have the ability to end relationships. You have the ability to write a book. You have the ability to do a Google search. You have the ability to change anything you want. But the only reason why you don't is because your mindset blows. And so day one, I want you to go through all the goals that you set. And I want you every single day throughout the next 30 days, you are going to spend 30 seconds. Your dreams deserve 30 seconds, don't you think? You're going to close your eyes and you're going to visualize what does it look like in your life when you have achieved your monetary goals this year? How does it feel to go to the bank and see that balance? How does it feel to be able to write that check and take your kids to Disney World on money that you made? How does it feel to be able to rent your own place or put down a down payment for the house you've always dreamt of? How does it feel to be able to have saved enough money so you can quit the job that you hate and launch the business because you have achieved your goals? It feels darn good. That's how it feels. And I want you to just savor that, because what you're doing when you visualize is you're reprogramming your reticular activating system, that system of neurons, that network that acts like a filter in your brain, so that it's spotting opportunity, so that it is helping you see evidence that you are confident, that you are capable, that you can do this, instead of all the garbage you think right now. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you like this one, I have a feeling you're going to like this one too. I'll see you there.